Breakneck through the Bible 2017-2018, class number 21. Okay, so first of all, just a couple housekeeping things. Tonight the class is going to be shorter, as there's a whole bunch of like a round robin of different rabbis giving little vignettes on the Seder at Torah at so I'm slated to speak at 9 o'clock.
Oh, okay.
So like at 5 to 9, I'm going to say bye, and I'm out of here. So anyone who wants to come there is welcome to.
What about the chametz?
Oh, some of the chametz. Okay, so we'll do it during this week or next week. Anyone like me to sell the chametz, I'm happy to do that. So make sure you see me over the course of this week or next week, or Rabbi Feigenbaum will be doing it. Number 2. Charlie Harari is going to be speaking Wednesday night at Levine Academy. So we're going to be, so here's the flyers, we'll hand them out. He's coming out with a new book called Unlocking Greatness. And that's going to be this 7:45 this Wednesday at Levine Academy, sponsored by Data. So that's coming up Wednesday night. And again, anyone would like to join us for the Seder, for all our live viewers on Facebook, feel free to contact me. We'll kind of have you by me or set you up to come to join us for the Seder. Okay, so we got to talk fast because we got a lot to talk about. Last week we ended off at the middle of chapter 3. We're talking about the curses of men and women that they got for. Not really they didn't get the curses because they ate in the Garden of Eden. They really got the curses because they did not accept the responsibility of eating in the Garden of Eden, right? We said if they would have owned up, and when God comes ahead and God says, right, and they would have said, oh, sorry, God, we made a mistake. Please forgive me. Please, 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 pretty please. And the cherry on top, that God would have said, of course, right? Right, and that's really the biggest problem with man till today. It's not the problem that we sin; it's the problem that we refuse to accept responsibility for sinning. That's really our problem, and it's really it's the same thing. It's the same thing. Really, it's funny through life is that it's all about accepting responsibility, right? Then we always try to kind of pass the buck and let it be other people's responsibilities, and really responsibility is what makes us great. Right, but it's going ahead and us accepting responsibility. The more responsibility we accept, the greater we can become. Right? The more responsibilities we shirk, the smaller we become. Right? And that's really what happened with Adam and Eve, is that they were in the garden and they didn't accept responsibility. And it just kind of was just sad. And so finally God has no choice but to, quote unquote, to give them the punishment. So last week we talked about that we got to the point of where God just punishes the serpent straight up out, right? And we said because he was the instigator. The instigator, you don't ask why, right? You just give the punishment. And we said the snake got the punishment of right on his belly. He's going to crawl. He's going to eat sand, dirt, the rest of his life. The woman got the curse of that, right? We said that she will desire a husband, right? And with right, and she'll have pain in childbirth. And to your husband you shall desire, and he shall rule over you. And so we explained last week that what does that mean? We said that what does it mean that a woman will desire her husband? We said that every woman needs the 3 A's. 3 A's. Some people say the 4 A's. Right? Affection. Attention. And appreciation. What's the 4th A? American Express. Okay. That you had no problem remembering. No. We got that down. Okay, right? So, right, attention, affection, and appreciation. And we said, and that's really why women in general always need to be asking their husband, do you still love me? And that's because they all come from Eve. Right? And since they all come from Eve, Eve soul, and Eve gave man to eat. So therefore, a woman always has a feeling that now my husband's going to get rid of me because we're all a descendant of Adam's soul. And so therefore they need the constant reaffirmation that my husband loves me. And therefore if you tell him in the morning, it's not enough. By lunchtime you have to call him. And then by evening time when you get home, you got to remind him again. And then when you're going to bed, you have to remind him again that you still love them. Right? And it's not their fault. This is the way they are. And so if you understand that as a good husband, right? You go ahead, you want to make your wife feel very secure, right, and love. So therefore, you go ahead and make sure that you do this, right, and to go ahead to make sure that you're always on the same page, right? That we always locked in and on that same page. And similarly too, right? We said, what does a husband need, right? So we said a husband needs to be right. So it means in your what he needs to be respected, right? Why does he need to be respected? Because he says if my wife, if Eve, right, would have respected me, she wouldn't have given me to eat from the tree. That she gave me to eat from the tree shows a level of shows she didn't respect me, and therefore, as long as a man knows that his wife respects him, he knows that she's not going to stab him in the back. As soon as he's not sure of that, at that point in time, so now he goes ahead and he's at the stage of where, oh my gosh, right? What is right? Maybe she's planning something, she's plotting something, and therefore she constantly needs the reminders, right? And therefore he needs to be respected, and that's something that's just inbred in their DNA. And again, so a woman, right, that loves their spouse will make sure that he feels respected, right? Because that way then he will go ahead and he will know he doesn't have to worry about his wife stabbing him in the back. Okay? And that goes back to Adam and Eve. It has nothing to do with women today or men today, right? This is a constant that is throughout history. And that's really when the verse says, if you read it, to the woman he said, right, I will, right, greatly increase your suffering and your childbearing, in pain shall you bear children, all that we understand, right? Yet your craving shall be for your husband, right? Meaning that you will always need his attention, affection, and appreciation, and he shall rule over you, and you have to make sure that you always let him know that you respect him. Okay, and then we talked about that actually men and women both got 10 curses. Okay, well, let's do the woman's 10 curses, okay? So women actually got 10 curses in this because of this, and the curses are as follows. Number 1, women would have menstrual cycles, right, which would be uncomfortable. Prior to this time, Eve had no menstrual cycles. Okay, so menstrual cycles is the first curse, right? If you want to take a look, I'm reading out of To Be a Jewish Woman by Lisa Aiken, right? In page 19, where she goes ahead and she lists all of the 10 curses of women, and then on page 21, the 10 curses of a man. Okay, so the first one is that she has menstrual cycles. Number 2, the first time a virgin would have intercourse, it would be painful. Okay, right? So that's number 2. That is curse number 2. Number 3, raising children would cause anguish, including the need to nurse, dress, clean, and carry them around until they are independent. Mothers were worried that the children would not grow up the way they would like. And this is something that it's kind of, we kind of joked about it a little bit, right? So the kid misbehaves in school and the mother cries, and the father says, have it out with the kid, right? Maybe, why are you taking it personally? You didn't misbehave, your child misbehaved. And what happens? What's it? No, it's me, right? Because a woman is connected dearly to her child, and therefore she goes ahead and therefore she absorbs it more, right? And it's more inside of her, right? So therefore they're more connected, and therefore they have the worry that the children will not grow up the way they would like to. Number 4, a woman would be overly shy about her body. Okay, that's the 4th curse that woman got. Number 5, a woman would feel discomfort during her 9 months of pregnancy. Prior to this time, a child emerged after every act of intercourse. And that's something we talked about even today, and we said that even though physically a child doesn't come out after every time a husband and wife are together, right? But we said every time spiritually that a husband and wife are together, they create a new soul, right? That is their soul child. Soul, not S-O-L-E, but S-O-U-L, right? Is their soul child. And actually, when you get to heaven, you will be greeted by all these souls that you have created. Number 6. Okay, childbirth would be painful. Right, childbirth would be painful, and to be painful to have children. Number 7, a woman would be forbidden to marry 2 husbands. Okay, this is something that is not commonly known, but in the Garden of Eden, woman was allowed to marry 2 men, and a man was allowed to marry 2 women. Right? But once it became that you have now 9 months of pregnancy, if a woman was to have 2 husbands, right, she would not know who's the father of the child. And so therefore she now can no longer marry 2 children. And someone says, the Rabbi says, no. He says, the real problem is her credit line got cut in half. Right? Okay, before she had 2 credit lines, now she's down to 1. But okay, right? But that's what it is. Childbirth would be painful. Then we have that's the number 8. A woman would be forbidden to marry 2 husbands. Number 8. A woman would have a sense of sexual longing when her husband was away on a trip. Okay, right? That she would desire to have him, and they would have that longing. Number 9. A woman would desire her husband sexually, but would find it emotionally difficult to openly ask him to have intercourse with her. A woman would sexually desire the husbands even when it result in the pain of pregnancy and birth. Right? Is that right? Is that God put that in there? Because otherwise there'd be no children. Right? Remember they said if men would have children, there would be no human race. Right? Because to have 1 child, or you hear about 1 person having a child, there's no way you would have a second. Okay, number 10, a woman would desire to stay home. So these are the 10 curses that woman got. Okay, these are the 10 curses that before the Garden of Eden, before they sinned in the garden, it was not so, and now this is what they went and they got flipped. That's what it got turned into, that they have now these 10 curses. Okay, fine. Now let's turn to the man. Top of page 19, chapter 3, verse 17. Scott, why don't you read?
To Adam he said, because you listened to the voice of your wife and ate of the tree about which I commanded you, saying, you shall not eat of it. Cursed is the ground because of you. Through suffering shall you eat of it all the days of your life. Thorns and thistles shall it sprout for you, and you shall eat the herb of the field. By the sweat of your brow shall you eat bread until you return to the ground from which you were taken, for you are dust, and to dust shall you return.
Okay, stop. Right, so verses 17, 18, and 19, right, these are the curses that mankind got, okay? So there were 10 curses that man got, and we'll go through them again, one by one. And just by the way, right, so it says, right, it says, before we do the 10 curses, right, it says, by the sweat of the brow, right, shall you eat bread, right, until you return to the ground which you were taken, for you are dust, and to dust shall you return. Right, by the sweat of your brow.
Work.
Right, work, okay? Which meant that before they sinned, how did they eat bread?
It was provided for them on the challah tree.
Right, they read the challah tree, right? They just picked the bread straight off the tree. So people say, how do you know that bread was the forbidden tree from which they ate from? The answer is verse number 19, where it says, by the sweat of your brow you shall eat bread. Meaning that from now on, you're going to eat bread by the sweat of your brow. But before this, right, well, how would you eat bread? It just grew on the tree.
Rabbi.
Yes.
So, isn't bread was defined like a general term as food in the ancient time?
Say it again.
Bread.
Yeah.
Like put bread on the table. It doesn't necessarily mean the bread, but it mean a food, right? Is that what it is?
So
Food in general.
No.
Uh-huh.
No. It's actually interesting. I will teach you eating habits of the old world, okay, which is anywhere pre-1920, 1930 in America, and still in most places in the world. When a person says they're going to eat, what are they eating? They're eating bread. Okay, they're eating bread. Only in America are we rich enough that we have supper without bread, right? We'll eat proteins, we'll have vegetables, right? But we won't eat bread, right? We are pretty much like this is a very new phenomenon, right? In the rest of the world, when you eat, eating means bread, bread, and having something with the bread, kind of to make the bread tastes better, right? But bread every time, like it's interesting. Like Russians today, right? It's the main staple is bread. You ever have a Russian person from Russia eating at your house? Watch, they'll eat bread throughout the whole meal. They eat everything with bread because in the rest of the world, that's how they eat. Right? Only in America, right, do we not eat like that.
Isn't it for the bread that the woman have to separate challah?
Oh, so very interesting. So traditionally, right, well, men and women both are obligated, right, when you bake bread, that you have to give a portion of it to the priest, to the Kohen. But it has become much more of a custom that the women bake the challah than the men, and the reason for that is that the women today, right, are descendants of Eve, and so they're going ahead and they are rectifying the sin of Eve. What was Eve's sin? Right, that she went ahead and that she fed man bread that got him killed, and so therefore to rectify the sin of Eve feeding Adam bread, right? Women nowadays bake challah and give to her husband, right? To the husband's bread that has been rectified, right? Bread that is kosher, right? And that with challah taking off, and so therefore they go ahead and they're rectifying the soul of Eve. And actually, it's actually quite interesting, right? One of the reasons why do women braid the challah?
Because God braided her hair.
Right, so right, because when God created woman and brought her to man, He braided her hair, right, to make her look beautiful, right. So therefore, she braids the challah to remind man, right, that she was given to him by God. It's just very fascinating, right? Because really we are around in this world. What is our job in this world?
Elevate ourselves.
Right, or to fix up our souls, right? Right, to fix up our souls, right, that which God has given us, right, and so therefore that's the way that a woman goes ahead and rectifies the soul of Eve, that which she has. Okay, and then a man eats the bread, right, which is again, right now he's eating kosher bread rather than bread that will bring death to the world, right, and so therefore it kind of creates it too. Okay, so the 10 curses of man. Number 1, he was originally created taller than normal as a physical reflection of his spiritual greatness. His physical stature was reduced to reflect his spiritual decline. Right, as soon as, right, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, right, it's not just a movie, right, it's actually what took place in the Garden of Eden. Right, that Adam used to be this very tall, Adam and Eve, both to be very tall. They were both now shrunk down to reflect the spiritual, shrinkage that took place.
Were they also transparent before the sin?
Okay, before the sin, they when you saw Adam and Eve walking towards you, you basically saw a light, which was had sort of a outline of a person, right? And that's what happened. And what happens when they sin, their bodies became no longer were translucent, and all of a sudden their bodies became
opaque,
physical, opaque, right, or physical. And because they became physical, that's what they were embarrassed about, right? Because they were embarrassed because their soul was hidden, and they no longer were solely soul people, right? Okay, right. They were right, but what were they? Right, they were now very physical, and which is quite an embarrassment, right? And that's why they wanted to cover themselves, because they wanted to say, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe that I blew it."
I ate the whole thing.
What? Right, but I can't believe that all of a sudden that I'm now like physical, like it's crazy, right? It's at that point in time, right? So it's that's what they were embarrassed about.
Is that why we do this with the 3 braided candle at the end of the service for Shabbat with the fingernails?
Oh, so very interesting. So what happened was, man was. It's actually interesting. There are a few laws with fingernails. Before man sinned, right? They went ahead and they were their whole body. They didn't have clothing, but they're basically covered like with a nail-like substance. Okay, right, like our nails that we have, right? It was with a nail-like substance, right? And when they sinned, the nail went off their whole body, right? And we only have a little bit left, right, on our fingernails and toenails, which is why when we cut our fingernails and toenails, we have to be very careful what we do with them. Right? It says if a pregnant woman walks in them, it could cause a miscarriage. Okay. Yeah.
Is that a halakhic superstition? Or
No. That is not a halachic superstition. That is a halacha.
halach?
Okay. There's no such thing as a halachic superstition. Right. The halacha is you can't have superstitions.
Oh.
Right. That's actually a Torah commandment
Oh.
about not having superstitions. Right. So if a black cat crosses your path, you're not gonna say, "Oh my gosh, it's terrible." That is prohibited. Right. If a glass cracks, you can't say, "Oh my gosh," it's it's bad omen. Right, all that stuff doesn't work. Okay, right. So what you have is if it's in a halacha, right. So then it's not a superstition. Okay. So what happens is, right. So the halacha is when you cut your fingernails and toenails, and you're supposed to go ahead and you're supposed to either bury them, burn them, right, to just get rid of them. It says super righteous people burn them. It says righteous people bury them. And so I once had an amazing story that was kind of a little sad, but a lady, she had come to class. This is a long place ago, probably 20 years ago. A lady came to class, and what happened was, she said, like I was talking with her afterwards. She said, "Yeah, my grandmother was crazy." So I said, "Really?" I said, "Why was your grandmother crazy?" I said, "Like, what did she do that made her crazy?" So she said, "Well, whenever she used to cut her fingernails, she used to insist on burning them." So I said to the person, I said, "I find that amazing." I said, what the Torah calls super righteous, you call crazy, right? We're so far removed, right, from what it is that we just don't go ahead and we think you're crazy if you do that.
That's why knowledge is power.
And so it's really quite fascinating, right? So, but that's why we do that. And again, so you're saying on Saturday night, right? So when we make the Havdalah, right, we use a two braided. It has to be two wicks, two or more wicks that create a torch, right? So we do that on Saturday night because fire was given to man on Saturday night. So that's why the one time a week, we make a blessing on fire is Saturday night. And then we go ahead and we inspect our fingernails. We want to use the fire. So we use the fire to differentiate between our fingernails and we go like this, right? We go like to look at, at our fingers, the difference between our fingers and our nails. We go like this between our palm and the fingernails, right? So go like this, right? To use the fire, right? That is used on Saturday night. One of the reasons that we inspect our fingernails is to remind us that we used to be all fingernails, no clothes, right? But then we sinned, right? Again, it's reminding us of sin, and that's why we were kicked out of the Garden of Eden. And so that sort of is the chain of events and how we come about over here.
I don't know if everybody does it or it's a tradition, but we don't cut our nails on Moshe Shabbos.
Oh yeah? Okay, I don't know. That does not sound.
On Shabbos.
No?
No, not Shabbos. On Saturday night. That's interesting. I don't know. I never heard that. Okay. Now also just once on fingernails. So just another law is that we don't cut them in order. Okay, we don't go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right, we cut them. We skip like 1, 3, 5, 2, 4. And the reason for that is for undead people we cut them straight. Right. So therefore we go ahead. We don't go ahead and we don't cut them just in a row. We just skip, right? Again, we write the order in which we go ahead in which we cut our fingernails or toenails. Okay, I think we got most of the mitzvahs to do with fingernails. Okay, so back to man. So man goes ahead and we go ahead and we have here, 10 curses that man got. So curse number 1 is that he originally was created taller than normal as a physical reflection of his spiritual greatness. His physical stature was reduced to reflect his spiritual decline. Right? Man went ahead and man got shrunk. Okay? Right? So therefore at that point in time, right, honey has shrunk the kids, right? God shrunk man. Right? And the Talmud used to be 100 cubits tall, which is quite tall. Man, it was shrunk. He was brought down to more normal human size.
This is a cubic. How
Yeah.
tall was he?
How tall was he? The answer is very tall.
Giant.
Right? He was giant. Right?
Oh my God.
Right? Very tall. Like, what did we say? 175 feet, whatever it is, something like that.
Oh.
But very tall. Okay. Number two. Right. Number two is that man would feel weak whenever he would ejaculate. Okay, that's curse number two. Number three, the earth would grow thorns and brambles. Okay, right. The earth. Thank you. The earth would grow thorns and brambles, right, and therefore would be, right. Man would get thorns and brambles. Now, by the way, what did the earth do wrong that the earth got punished and now was producing thorns and brambles?
Yeah.
What did the earth do wrong that now was going to produce thorns and brambles?
For just a man.
No. So very interesting. Because remember back in day number 3, when God made the earth and God told the earth to produce
Trees that have
trees
the
the fruit and the tree would both taste like
the
fruit. And instead the earth didn't listen and the earth went ahead and the earth produced
fruit.
Right? Trees that produce fruit. That the fruits trees produce the fruit. The fruit tasted like fruit, but the tree
Was by itself.
was by itself. Right? The tree was by itself. And so what happens is that that's what the earth did. And now that man sinned, the earth got his punishment got rolled up into man's. Right, this was a punishment to man that the earth would now produce thorns and thistles. Right, that we'd have to fight through the briar patch. But it was also a punishment to the earth for not listening to God and for producing only fruit that tasted like fruit, and not the tree itself that tasted like fruit.
Everybody wanted to misbehave. Adam, Eve, Earth, everybody.
Isn't it amazing? You know why? I'm going to tell you why.
Yeah.
You know why that is?
No.
There's a very deep-seated reason. And the answer is because we all were created with free will. Humans. And since human beings were created with free will, okay? So what happens if human beings were created with free will?
You make a choice.
What?
Resist?
So what happens is, so therefore we need to feel like we're human. Okay? We need to feel like we're human. We need to express our humanity. So the only way we have to make a free will choice, right? We have to make a choice that will allow us to go ahead and to show that we're human. That's why, I'll tell you, and I'll teach you now one of the most amazing child care tips that you will ever hear. Okay? And it doesn't matter how old your children are, even if they're grandparents by themselves. This works like a charm. Okay, listen up, folks. All your tuition for all the classes you ever came to is worth it just for this tip. Okay? It goes like this. Your kid comes home from school, and he has homework. So what happens? Tell me you have to do your homework now. What does the child say?
Not a chance.
Not a chance. I don't want it. You have to do it now. And what does he do? No, Mom, you don't understand. It ain't happening. Okay, now, right? And then you get into a fight with your child. And they have a power of wills and who wins and who doesn't. Now let me ask you a question. Why is your kid so obstinate that he doesn't want to do what you tell him?
God gave him free will as well.
Stubborn streak.
What?
Stubborn streak.
Stubborn streak.
No.
And those are the Russian kids.
Could it be he was tired from 8 to 3 because he'd already been studying that long and thought it was time for play?
Yeah. So it goes like this. Let me explain to you why the kid will do this. The kid will always say no because he needs to feel that he's a human being.
Choices.
choices. You have to let him make a choice. If you tell him what he has to do, you are taking him worse than than making him do what you want him to do. You're saying you're not a human being, but you are a animal, because animals don't have free will. And a human being will always fight not to be an animal. So let me tell you how you go about and do this, and you get the results that you desire. It works like magic. You tell your child, I am going to offer you a choice. You could do your homework now, or you could do your homework in 5 minutes. Either way you do it, it is fine. I am perfectly happy. You choose. He says, I don't want to do my homework. Right? That's usually the response. You say, well, you don't have a choice. That's not one of the choices. You have these two choices and you get to pick. You could do it now, or you could do it in 5 minutes. Because what have you just done with your child? You've offered him an option. Okay? You've given him an option.
You've also given him some
right?
esteem.
Well, again, because you've treated him as a human being and he gets a chance to express his human beingness, and therefore he will go ahead and he will choose one of those options. Right? So instead of saying you have to do this, you say you have a choice of doing this now or doing it later, or doing so. What you do is give him two choices that you can live with, and then at that point in time he gets to express his godliness, which i.e. means his free will, and therefore then life can move on, and you won't have that struggle. Right? And so therefore, and by the way, it doesn't apply just to children, it applies really to anybody. Right? Anybody comes to your boss, says, you have to do this. What do you say? Oh no. Right? He's your boy. I'm your boy. Okay. Right? You don't control me, right? Right? We go around and give him all the wonderful excuses of why he can't tell you what, he or she cannot tell you what to do. Right? And the answer is, or you'll do it and you'll be really mad. Right? You'll be like, I can't believe that. Right? Right? But the answer is, why is it so upset? He tells you what you need to do. This is what the company needs. Why is it so bad that he tells you what to do? The answer is because you're losing your free will.
Dehumanizing.
That's what you're taking away what makes him human. Right? Because he looks, and you're not. You're saying this is what we need. Right? But he feels that I don't have a choice. Human beings are all about free will. So at the end of the day, we need to be able to make free will decisions. Right? And so therefore, when we make those free will decisions, we express our humanity. Right? And so therefore now that's why Adam and Eve made the free will decisions. Now they made the poor free will decisions. Right? Meaning that they chose wrong.
So did Earth.
And so did Earth. But why did Earth have to choose? Why did Earth? I mean, Earth is an angel over the earth. How can it? It doesn't have free will. So the whole thing doesn't make any sense.
It has to go along with what man does because we have control over it.
Okay, no. But it was before man was around.
You're right. That's wrong.
Because since man and woman are created from, man, are created from earth.
Right.
Right, so since man is created from earth, so therefore our raw material that we're made of has to have the same free will capacity. Right, and so therefore, where do we see that the earth had that what we're made of, that our physicality has the same free will capacity from what we were made from? The answer is when God told the earth to create fruit trees bearing fruit, that the trees itself tasted like fruit, bearing fruit. What did the earth do? It said, no, I'm not going to do that. And so therefore, but now, since the land did that, when man got punished, the earth got punished as well. And therefore the earth got to produce thorns and thistles. And now I want to just tell you one other thing about trees, very important. Okay? You could try this experiment at home and tell me what happens. Okay? Take two identical plants, and you put them on your windowsill. And you give the same water to both the plants. And one of the plants you say, wow, what a beautiful plant. Thank you for brightening up my day. And the other plant, you just say, oh, you ugly looking, stinking plant.
You just will talk to them.
You may
Talk to them.
Oh, okay.
Okay?
You get one plant that flourishes, one plant that
Hmm.
is melted.
You will have one plant that will flourish and one plant that will not flourish.
What does it prove?
Yes.
What you
That's
talk,
feelings.
What you say.
what you say
Yeah.
Important.
is important, not only to people, but even to plants. And that means you have to go around and you have to, right, you have to always be talking very nice, because otherwise you're going to have a very ugly world.
Right.
Right, and so we have to learn how to talk nicely and how to interact, right, with all of God's creations in a godly manner, not in an ugly manner. Okay. Yes.
I've even heard that plants can communicate with each other through their root system and can even ward off a virus. Is that true?
There's some crazy stuff with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've
can communicate with each other.
they've done some studies on it.
Uh-huh.
You know what it is?
What?
This is where it is. If you take a look,
Uh-huh.
I think it's acacia trees that giraffes eat from.
Uh-huh.
And when the giraffe begins nibbling on the tree, all of a sudden the tree produces, think a bad smell that drives the giraffe away.
Isn't that the wood that was used to make the temple?
Yeah, I'm not sure it's the same
It's a
wood.
holy wood.
Yeah, right. But I'm not sure that's the same wood. But I'm just telling you that was where I saw that.
Oh, wow.
One of these crazy stuff.
Oh,
Right? Just go look it up. You can look up after class. Go to Ed. Right? Just giraffes eating trees. Right? And do the trees protect themselves? Just pretty cool thing. Alrighty, good. So that is curse number 3. The earth would grow thorns and brambles. Okay. Curse number 4. Man would have anguish in earning a livelihood. Oh, this is fantastic.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. That what happens is, by the sweat of the brow, we're going to have to eat. Okay? Meaning that we're going to have to work for a living. Okay? Right before this, we were in the Garden of Eden. What happened when we were in the Garden of Eden?
Everything was green.
Whatever we needed, we got. Right?
Great, that was our work.
Right.
We prayed, that was our work, right? And all of a sudden now, no longer. Now what happens?
Gotta work for it.
You got to work for it. But a sweat of the brow, you got to work. Number 5. Man was to eat the grass of the field. Right? Now, why was this such a curse for man?
Because he's carnivorous by nature.
Nope. Remember, he was not allowed to kill an animal to
Oh,
eat.
that's right. That's
He could
right.
eat an animal that was dead, but he could not kill an animal for food. Right? So what happened here? Right? Why was it so bad for man? So this was so bad for man because what did animals eat? Grass. What was man's diet?
Bread.
Grass and fruit.
Yeah.
We could eat both. Okay? Grass and fruit. Because why? Because we didn't have the same exact diet as animals, because we were not animals, we were humans. All of a sudden, man was getting busted back down to private, and he was going to have to eat the same food as animals.
But they still ate fruit, didn't they? Or they
No. Originally, God said that was the punishment, that you cannot eat.
The fruit.
You cannot eat from the fruit.
So when did he change after Noah?
No. So what happened was that when man heard that he and the animals were going to be eating the same food, he pleaded to God, and the next curse was substituted for this one.
Oh, so we got.
Okay, you got a different curse.
So he still got the same amount of curses.
No. Okay, 6. Man would eat bread by the sweat of his brow. Okay, all of a sudden now, right? He was gonna, right? Now he's going to have to go ahead. He was going to, right? He's gonna have to sweat for it. Okay, number 7. Adam lost the initial extraordinary beauty that God gave him. Right? Because the original beauty, right? The original beauty was a physical manifestation of his spiritual beauty. It now was gone. Right? Then he was no longer as beautiful. Number 8. The snake lost his hands and feet and could no longer serve his intended role as an effective servant for man. That's why we have kids. No, just kidding. Okay. right. But that was right. The snake lost the hands and the feet, and therefore he couldn't serve not only could not serve in the role. Now there'll be this enmity and this hatred between the snake and the man.
Wait, so the snake was supposed to be like a butler or something?
Yeah, sure.
But
Two butlers.
Like he was supposed to be like our buddy? Like he was supposed to be
No,
what we were
a
talking
servant.
about and stuff? Not like a
servant.
Yeah, what do
I want water. Show up, snake. Here you go, sir, right away.
No, but you
Steak.
know what you're talking about. Like, 'cause my dog's bear was like, can I see
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So is that how man got meat? Was through the serpent?
And then it's very nice. So the man, well, the serpent, right, was just his butler. Man got meat in the garden to eat, right? Was if an animal died of roadkill or old age, right? Then he could eat that animal, right? He could eat that animal. Then he could go and he could eat it. Remember, animals didn't kill animals, right? Till the flood, animals couldn't kill animals, right? So it really was the world was now we could eat meat. We could kill an animal to bring as an offering, and as well once we got kicked out of the garden, we could kill an animal for clothing. But we were not allowed to kill an animal for eating, and that changed after the flood. Okay, so Adam, right, lost his the initial extraordinary beauty, right, that God gave him. Right, so that's the snake lost his hands and feet, can no longer serve his intended role and his effective service for man. Number 9, Adam was banished from the Garden of Eden and lost his status as Lord and Master of the world. Okay, we were out. We were no longer being able to kind of just be in the Garden of Eden. Number 10, men being dust would return to dust. He was destined to die and to be buried.
He lost immortality.
Immortality.
Before that, he was immortal.
Right. Now, so these are the 10 curses that man got.
What about women?
So now,
you late?
You were late.
so
You did that.
so now it's a good question.
Interesting enough. that-
You know, we have to be kind, my friends. This is not good.
Said
Pass the
Remedial
test.
curses.
Okay.
I thought it would be other.
Okay, no. You see, if I really was obnoxious, I would tell the people that told you that you're late, I would tell them to tell me the 10. Right? Because it's not that they know them all. I just want to guarantee you that, okay? I'm just letting you know that. I'm just, just putting it out.
We were
It's
listening.
pointless just to listen with your comments. Because it's not the same.
Yeah, so, okay. Yeah.
One question though, on the 10th plague, not plague, but the 10th punishment.
But yeah.
Man becomes dust,
Yeah.
but woman does too.
Yeah.
Is it the 10th one?
No, so it's very interesting.
Yeah, so we seem to get kind of a double.
What do you mean? You get double, the men get it even worse. Can you imagine having to live with a wife who has all these things? Who is it hell for more? Like, I always think, like, I read I think the men get 20 for 20. That's what I look at it. So it's kind of like everyone gets everything. Listen, right? Your husband come home wiped out from work, right? Is not interested, right? That doesn't feel good either, right? You know what I'm saying, right? So it all goes both ways. But what is interesting? It's a good question, very fair. What I would tell you is as follows: interesting. You see, men and women were not both created from dust.
You're created from dirt.
No.
No.
Woman was created from man.
Woman was
You see, man.
It was like split in half. It wasn't like created from a man.
No. First, and then she was finished up, right? So therefore, so man was created from dust, right? Dirt, whatever it is, right? But woman was created from man. She was not created from dust. Right? The term, it goes through great pains to let us know that she was not created from dust. Animals were created from the dirt. Men were created from the dirt. Women were not created from the dirt.
Is that why women are at a higher spiritual
Yes,
level
ma'am.
naturally than men are?
Yes, ma'am.
And that's why we don't have to cover our heads before we're married.
Right. No. There's right. Absolutely. No, it's and that's why a woman has less commandments than a man.
Yes.
Right? Because she doesn't, that's where it's at. So it's really it's fascinating. You go to go. This stuff is just when you really read what really happened and not what we think happened.
Mm-hmm.
It's an incredible story.
It is.
But now let me ask you all a question, okay? Man gets 10 curses, woman gets 10 curses, right? And the snake gets 2 curses, and we're not even sure it's a curse. Who got the worst punishment?
God. It saddened him.
The snake. Because he could no longer be
Hashem.
separated from God.
You know what?
Well, didn't you say the snake when he got separated? That was a separation. Remember before you said that. I thought
No. Go ahead.
snake.
Go ahead.
That was like okay. All right, I'll keep going.
Keep going.
All right. The snake, I think, from what you recall you saying is that the snake, which is the evil inclination. Before there was a connection. The worst curse you could ever have is a disconnect from God, and that's what happened to the snake in the garden when he lost his hands and feet.
Okay, beautiful. Okay, let's take a step back. Let's first start off with a very simple question. Does God need to punish us like naughty, you didn't listen to me?
No.
Like smack you on the hand, shame on you that you didn't listen to me?
No.
So why does God punish at all?
The consequence.
So it's very interesting. So I never call it a punishment, because it's not really a punishment. It's really a consequence. It's a consequence of our action. Okay? It means if you do X, you create a consequence. Right? It's interesting. My daughter called me up today. She's teaching the second paragraph of the Shema to 8th grade girls. So the girl said to her, what has happened? If I don't listen to God, I won't get rain. It's going to be tough for me. Like, why is God punishing me? So I said to her, God's not punishing you. God's just telling you that if you muck up the system, the world ain't going to work the way it's supposed to work. Right? The world has a way that it's supposed to be working. And if you're not working the world the way it's supposed to be working, the world's going to get messed up. So what happens is you got to listen. Listen. These curses are not curses. They're rectifying the sin.
Yeah.
What was the sin? The basic of the sin was
Not apologizing for sin.
is that you forgot about God, right? You forgot about God, right? You did your own thing. You checked out on God. So God says, I'm going to make it that you will never be able to check out on me. You know why? Because whatever you do, you're going to need me to help you.
Yeah.
Right? You're going to go to work. So why are people going to come to you instead of somebody else? So what does everybody say? Better customer service. So the problem is the other 5 people, or the whole 100 people doing your job, doing your type of work, what do they say? Better customer service. Well, who's right? Who's the better customer service? So who decides who walks into your door and who doesn't?
God.
God. I'm gonna prove it to you. Want to listen to the biggest proof in the world? How many animals go to work every day? You ever seen an animal with a briefcase? Getting all dressed up, getting their hair done and off they go to work. No, you don't see that.
No, my cats think they have a pretty.
Right. Okay. So, right, the animals never have to go to work. I forget about your animals, right? The animals in the world.
They just have to hunt.
And who feeds them?
Hashem.
Hashem, God makes sure they're all eating. I mean, I just want to explain to you.
Mm-hmm.
When you want to, when people say, God, why are you so mean? I want to throttle anyone who says that. Why? They're calling God mean. If they would know an iota of what God does, they would pass out from all the kindness that God does. Right? Right? I'll just explain to you why. How many people are there in the world? 7.5 billion people. Okay, does God feed them? Yeah, except when man gets in the way, mind you.
Yeah.
See, man's the real problem, isn't it? Right? Right, okay. So then, but God lets man have free will. Okay, and how many animals are there in the world?
Oh, God. Trillions.
Trillions. There's no number for it, right? Right? Trillions and trillions. There's just a trillion mosquitoes in my backyard. Right? Imagine mosquitoes in the world, right? In your backyard too? Right? I mean, right? How many animals are there? Insects. And God makes sure that every single one gets fed every day.
On us.
What?
The insects feed on
Right,
us.
right, kind of up the food chain, right, till they become, right, till your food becomes my food, becomes my food, becomes my food. Right? That's what happens, right? Right? That's what happens, right? The whole world, right? God is busy just doing kindness to the entire world. That's all God does every day. If you want to know why he's so mean, because somebody missed a meal. Right? You know what I'm saying? Like we get bent out of shape. It's an amazing thing. It's just, we live in a truly amazing world where God is so kind. So why does he go ahead and why does God go ahead and what are these curses? So these curses are really not even curses. They're reminders that we need God. And that everything that we do, right, that we need God's help. And that we can no longer forget about God like we forgot about him in the Garden of Eden. But now we turn to God every day and we say, God, please help me. Right? And and a woman, right? So what does he do to make sure that the woman, right, she says, you're going to be so tied to your children, right? That what's going to happen is everything you're going to do. Your husband, right? You're going to need me every second of the day. And you can say, God, please help me out. God, please help me out. So all these punishments aren't really punishments. This is God just going ahead and rectifying the sins that we do. Right? Where do these sins and go ahead and come about? Right? So what happens now? How does that take place? Right? So that goes ahead and the snake. What does the snake get told? The snake is told, here is your food. You'll never run out of food. Here's all the dirt you eat in life, you'll never run out of it. And you know what? The snake will never need God. The snake will never need God. That's the biggest punishment. Right? You look at the punishments here. The snake gets clobbered. Mankind gets their cure to their disease. The disease was we forgot about God. God says, I'm going to make it that you can never forget about me. Yeah.
Frank said something I'll never forget. He said, there isn't a leaf in the world that doesn't fall that God doesn't know about or command.
Correct. Isn't that an amazing
It's
thing?
profound.
Right. The Talmud says there's no blade of grass that grows without an angel hitting it and saying, grow. See, my angels are all sleeping in my yard. Okay, but that's right. They're taking a nap, and that's okay. They're tired, right? That's right. But that's what takes place, right? That's right. And it's such an amazing idea. So we go through all these quote unquote curses, right? All these lessons, and what's really happening is at this point in time, right? We're getting the reminder that God is God. Okay, we're going to stop here now. I'm going to go over to Shari Tefillah. Don't forget this Wednesday night, Charlie Harari, Unlocking Greatness. I was going to be at Levine Academy 7:45 on Wednesday night. We'll be back at same bad time, same bad station. And then over Passover, we'd love to have you all come join us. Thank you. Bye-bye.